Hey guys, what's up? How's it going there? Let me just tell you that if you watch this video to its entirety and you comment down below in the comment section what your favorite color is in the next 20 seconds, you are entered for a chance to win a brand new mint condition iPhone 4S. That took me like 15 million tries to do. Okay? Welcome to Degenerate Talk. It's good to be back, even though we're not on hiatus, not yet anyway. Uh, we're on episode 6 now. What, can you guys believe it? I can't believe it. This was I bring this up every beginning of the podcast, but this was never supposed to go on for this long. But I don't know why any of you legitimately like this. Like, you guys, some of you unironically watch and listen to this podcast for no reason whatsoever. I can't help but thank you all from the bottom of my ass crack. Well, anyway. We're on episode 6. I put a Q&A on my Instagram, which you can see down below on this banner. That's probably going to get updated between this episode and the next episode. But yeah, I put a Q&A saying, wait, what Degenerate Talk is happening tonight? What topic do you want to see on the podcast? And man, some of you said some really good stuff, and some of you said some really fucking stupid stuff. Like, one of you sent me a Q&A about talking about the X-Men movies or some shit. Like, who cares? Who cares about the X-Men movies, man? I fucking hate those things. But one of you gave me a really cool question that has been actually a very hot topic in the comic community, at least on the Instagram side right now, and that is comic accuracy. That's right. If you haven't guessed it by my fucking caption, quote unquote, for each episode, this is what I'm doing now. It just makes more sense than just putting the top of the actual thing of the topic right there. You know, it fits the style of the podcast. You know, it's whatever. You know. But yeah, comic accuracy. This is what we're talking about right now. It's kind of been a hot button topic in the community, mostly because I want to say it's because we finally have like a break between all these comic book movies or superhero movies. You know, like the MCU's been on break or something. DCU is they're there. We all know about the DCEU. The DCEU is the kid on the playground who wanders around. He just walks around the playground and doesn't talk to anybody. And then when the bell rings, he's always the last one to show up because he walks so fucking slow. That's the DCEU. But yeah, we've had a break between all of these comic book movies, and yeah, you know, like, I feel like this is all this break has kind of given us a time to absorb all of the movies. Like, people are at home now and they're watching movies and sitting on their ass, and you know, either they're watching movies or they're watching movies or eating, or they're watching movies while fucking each other. You know, it's kind of, you know, we have time to look back now. So I guess with that, it's like some of us have finally observed. Just like some of us have come to the conclusion that the MCU is shit, or some of us have come to that the MCU is kind of cool, or whatever, or some shit, you know, like that. But one thing that has sparked the kind of debate on comic accuracy is the Batman, or Ben Affleck's Batman, or Snyder's Batman from the movies. I don't know who's Batman, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So basically, it's been this really hot button debate about what is defined as comic accuracy. So, like, i.e., Ben Affleck Batman, or Snyder's Batman, you know, or movieverse Batman or some shit. He basically was, like, killing. And Batman vs. Superman, we all know that scene where he's, like, shooting guns and killing people or some shit. People that exclusively watch the movies don't read comics recently. That's comic accurate because in 1975 million or some shit, Batman was shooting people, and you know, and then comic readers are like, no, I've been reading. Hold on, let me do a voice. I remember reading Batman since like 1867, and I have to say that in never my life, Batman would never kill because it's against his moral code. It's so basically you have these two sweaty, we have these two really sweaty sides of people that have a distinction of what comic accuracy actually is. Another thing that's been a kind of a topic of debate is Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Uh, I guess for me, well, actually, I'll get to that later. The thing with Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that he's a lot of comic readers don't like him because he's barely a Peter Parker, and you know what? I can't blame him. There, he's basically Iron Man, basically, right? He's just a teenage Iron Man at this point. Which, you know what? It makes sense for the movies because like you killed off your most important moneymaker, your most likable moneymaker. You just threw him to the curve, and you know what? Whatever. You needed a replacement, and go ahead. And I don't really watch movies like that. I haven't watched movies like that in like forever, but I get why people are mad because I want to see a comic accurate Peter Parker. My favorite on-screen Peter Parker is Peter B. Parker from Spider-Verse. I love the voice. I love the personality. He gives off the Spider-Man feel of being a dipshit, a real dipshit moron who tries his best at life. That for me is Peter Parker down to a T. A miserable moron who tries his best at life, but always seems to fall flat 65% of the time. That's it. And I feel like Peter B. Parker embodies that for me. But I understand that people want to see a real live action Spider-Man, so whatever. So now that we got all of that, actually, I kind of want to read the thing that because the person that basically told me it was basically talking about adaptations and comic accuracy. More specifically, what you consider to be comic accurate. So I guess for me, well, I guess talk about the first section: adaptations and comic accuracy. For the most part, since films have been a thing, uh, I kind of want to say that not a lot of producers read comics. Like, let's be real here. The fantastic Joshua Trank, you know, the guy that the film community fucking destroyed on Instagram, right? He made the Fantastic Four movie from 2015. You know, that stupid movie with the with the you guys know that fucking stupid fucking movie. He didn't read the comic at all. He just went off. He basically just based it off the old movies, which and whatever. But for at the same time, I like the Fantastic Four, and you fucking destroyed my expectations by ruining it that hard. So, but yeah, it's things like that. Like let's take the X-Men movies for example. The X-Men movies. I forgot who directed all those X-Men movies. But, the ones from the early 2000s to First Class and all that shit. He never read comics either. He basically read the fucking he like looked at the covers or some shit and then based the movies off the covers or something. Like I don't fucking like it's some shit, it's shit like that. Like for me, if you're going to provide a movie based off an already existing figure, you kind of have to base your work off you have to base a majority of your work at least off that character. Like if you're making a documentary on World War II and then next thing you know aliens show up like 20 minutes in, what the fuck are you doing? Like if I'm reading Spider-Man and next thing I know Spider-Man and the Spider-Man movie comes out and Spider-Man's fucking in a two-story penthouse and he has like three wives and is living as happy as life. I'm like, that's not comic accurate because Peter Parker in the comics is supposed to be fucking miserable or some shit, right? Like, that's not comic accurate. But in my wholehearted opinion, it's I'm kind of on the fence for both sides because the thing with comic accuracy is it's kind of a conundrum. Am I saying that right? Hold on, guys. as you guys know, we do not prepare or plan any of these topics. We just go off them as we were. It's all winged here. It's all okay. But yeah, I said that. Yeah, I said it right. Comic accuracy is kind of like a conundrum. It's always different for everybody. Like, let's say, depending on the character, it's always hard for comic accuracy to be the thing you want. Like, let's take Superman, for example. Superman is the easiest character to make comic accurate because there's literally, he has been the same character for like 80 some shit years. Like, it is hard to get rid of, like, to mess up Superman. I know Man of Steel messed up Superman, but trust me, it is very hard to mess up Superman. Like, most Superman media does Superman right, right? Because he has been consistently the same character. Batman, on the other hand, is hard to pinpoint because some people, when they say comic accuracy, it has to be, it has to fit the original narrative or the original characteristics and traits of the character. The original characteristics and traits of the character is that Batman fucking killed people. But the comic readers are mad that he kills people because the part that they remember was that Batman doesn't kill people, right? Like, so what do you choose? Does the producer choose that Batman kills because it was the character that was set in the beginning and he was the one that was created to be like that? Or do you choose the one that doesn't kill because he is the most remembered, he is the one that is symbolized to this day, and he has not been forgotten, right? Like, what do you choose? That is a hard decision to make, which is why I'm not entirely mad that Batman kills in the media, because it's like, hey, if you want quote unquote comic accuracy, the original Batman that kills is the one it's the one that was created to be. He was created to kill. Batman originally was created and he killed people. Like, that is set in stone. But we all remember the one that doesn't kill because he has the most stories. Like, I've been reading comics for 15 years, and all those 15 years, Batman has not killed anybody. Right? So the problem lies in what exactly is comic accuracy? Is comic accuracy this thing where it's always it's like pick and grab, like grab certain aspects of the character, jumble them up together, and hope you get it right, or is it grabbing a specific portion of a character? Like, if we grab, I guess Spider-Man is kind of an accurate character as well, so I can't really choose him. But let's stay at Batman, right? So if we have Batman here, right? We're going to talk about Spider-Man later, by the way, but we have Batman here. Batman killed in the beginning. He does it now. Are you going to specifically pick the fact that he kills and then keep most of the aspects of the ones that he doesn't? Like, are you going to say that Batman kills, but he also is kind of like against it, quote unquote? Like, that's the problem. Like, for me, a character can almost never be accurate because it can't, like, a character can almost never be accurate because it's the media, like live action movies, TV shows, cartoons, it can never really grab the feel or the I'm trying to find a way to word it, guys. Hold on. It's like I'll say in a way that comic readers understand. It's like when people say that this certain book, like X book, can never be captured in certain light. Like if this book had an adaptation and comic readers were like, oh, it just doesn't feel the same as a comic. Like, if The Boys comic, if you compare The Boys, the comic, and then The Boys, the show, a lot of people are going to be like, the comics just hit better. Or for people that read the live action first, it's like, oh, the live action's cleaner and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's things like that. Like, Your favorite book can never be accurate, mostly because things have to be cut in certain places. Like, but the problem in that lies in the fact of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. When you have Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he is very not comic accurate, and for marketing reasons, right? Like, let's be real here. Uh, Tom Holland's Spider-Man's origin and all that was created because they didn't want to talk about Uncle Ben dying for the 15th million time. I get it, but at the same time, there are certain characters who exist that don't need an explanation. Like, you can probably talk to like an elementary school person, like an elementary school student, and to ask them who's Superman and what's he about. They'll probably fucking tell you, right? Like, oh, Superman was fucking his planet go kablooey, and then parents go yeah, and then he raised by farm people, like, like shit like that, and people like everybody already knows Spider-Man's origin. You could have just skipped the whole thing and people would have already known, right? But I get why you skipped it. The problem lies in the fact that Disney or whoever the fuck stripped Spider-Man of his base fundamentals. Like, Spider-Man always carries guilt. Whenever Spider-Man is in a rut or is mentally backed into a corner, he always remembers Uncle Ben, like some shit Uncle Ben said, or some shit Aunt May said, or some shit Mary Jane said, like shit like that. Like, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is very not like he's normal. He's happy, quote unquote. He's very not he's very like anti Peter Parker, like anti comics Peter Parker, right? Like, he's very much his opposite, as if like you have Peter Parker Spider Man in the comics would, if he would go to a coffee, if Spider Man in the comics went to a coffee shop, right? Most probable thing that would happen is it would have an exchange with the cashier. The guy behind him would be yelling at him that he's holding up the fucking line. He'd grab his coffee and he'd probably drop it on the way back home, right? Whereas Tom Holland Spider-Man would, he would have a friendly conversation with the cashier, and he would grab his coffee and go because he didn't want to hold up the line, and he carefully holds it and goes to his girlfriend and blah blah blah, shit like that. Like people, comic readers don't want to see that. So I'm gonna take a break for a second because I rambled a bit, and I feel like once this gets uploaded, people are gonna be confused as to what I said. But I'm not redoing this because we're 20 minutes in. So, comic accuracy. If I could pinpoint a certain range as to which comic accuracy can be described, I guess for me it would be a carrying the fundamentals and certain traits of the character that has been come to known as the standard. So, i.e., sure, Batman killed in the first couple of years when he came out, but over time, over the course of 80 to 70 years, he has been refined, polished, and cut in certain ways that this character has become these characters' traits and fundamentals are standard in every Batman book. Like, Batman does not kill. Batman has Alfred, Batman and Gordon, and maybe a Robin here and there, right? Like, that's Bruce Wayne / Batman in the bubble, right? Spider-Man always carries guilt, always is constantly thinking about others and putting others before himself. Or am I saying that right? Putting others before himself, like, is selfless basically. Peter Parker is very selfless, carries guilt and some other shit. Like he always, that's a thing you always carry on in any media and any book. Like, that there's a reason why comic book readers get mad when their character in a certain book is very anti blah 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 blah. Like, let's take Damian Wayne. Uh, a lot of people have been pissed off because of the current Teen Titans run, which I kind of like. I'm not gonna be real with you. People are pissed off because it's like it's wiping away years of character development. And Damian Wayne doesn't do that. Yeah, but yeah, shit like. But yeah, you know what I'm talking like like. Oh, Damian Wayne doesn't do that anymore. He learned his lesson in this book, and why is he doing that? Like shit like that, you know, like. But for me, at the same time, it's like, you guys are only saying that because your favorite writer wrote Damien like that, and he hasn't written Damien like that in a while, and like a billion other writers have come after him and have wiped away that shit from existence. Like, guys, I like Tomasi's work on Batman and Robin and Super Sons and all that, but let's be real here. If DC actually gave a fuck about Damian Wayne, they would have made his Damian Wayne. He would have made if DC would have made Damian Wayne's Tomasi. Like if Tomasi's Damian Wayne actually mattered to DC, they would have made that personality of the character to the standard, but they didn't because look at Grant Morrison, James Tynion's Detective Run, and yada yada yada. But they don't care. Okay, so I don't know what to fucking tell you. Like I understand. I like Tomasi's writing for the character as well, but at the same time, it's like sometimes you have to take it. You have to take shit at face value. Like sometimes you have to take the cock and suck it. And until we live in a day and age where there are certain people at DC that are in the age group slash mentality of the people that care about those characters, you're gonna have to live with the fact that Damian Wayne has not been written consistently for a while now, and you're holding on to Tomasi's books a little too obsessively. But anyway, back to comic accuracy. But yeah, for me, it's like your your comic book movie has to follow a certain set of things for it to be considered comic book accurate. So, you know, like Bruce Wayne, blah blah blah. Like Bruce Wayne does not kill. Bruce Wayne moral code. Bruce Wayne always carries his. Bruce Wayne always fucking. Batman always often looks back instead of looking forward, right? Like he always looks back to that day in the alley, so he never has time to grow as a person. Like he hardly ever grows as a person. Like he can, but it's very hard because he's always looking back on that moment in his life. And would I say that most comic book movies are comic book accurate? I wouldn't say so. Mostly because, like, let's be real, a lot of movie producers do not fucking read comics. Like, the most comic accurate movies and shit I can name off the top of my head are probably like the old Superman Donner movies or some shit. Like, you know, like Superman 1, 2, and however fucking many movies there are, like 70, Superman 70 billion, Hope for Justice or some shit, you know, like those movies. Or, I wouldn't even say the Flash TV show is comic accurate, would I? I wouldn't. Like, but at the end of the day, it's one of these things where the character in media, the character is comic accurate when you feel like it is. Like Peter B. Parker is not necessarily comic accurate as I feel like he's not comic accurate in the sense that if you put the comic book version of Peter Parker in that movie, it's the same character. It's not like he doesn't carry he carries the traits of the character that I have been reading for so long. And that's why I love him so much. But at the same time, if you were to grab Peter B. Parker and put him in the comics, it's like he's not going to be the Peter Parker that you remember. Even though he's fucking cool and he would be cool to see in the comics. I'm like, if another Spider Verse book comes out, I want to see him. I want to see him. But what else? I think that's probably it, guys. Because I mean, it's like I can't give you guys an answer that's going to be satisfactory. It's like you guys are, because everybody it's all different for everybody. It's all different for everybody because what I just described as comic book accuracy may not be comic accurate to you. So like maybe you're one of those people that think, oh, if they're gonna do this story, then that whole story needs to be comic. Like if Marvel Civil War is coming out, then Marvel has to make it an exact copy of the one in the comic book, and it's like no, that would be like no, right? Like or like Thanos, like oh Thanos in the movies is fucking weak and shit, and he's not like Thanos in the comic books and blah, blah, blah like you know like for me, it's, comic accuracy is very specific. When he talk, sorry, I'm gonna drink water. Why do you guys watch this? Like, comic accuracy is very specific. Like specific. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. Uh, it's very like pinpointed. Like not everything is going like that's your favorite story can't be entirely comic accurate in the movies because either it can be too long, it wouldn't make sense because it revolves around previous books and titles, or shit like that. You know, like you can't do uh you can't do in like let's see. Let's name a book. Let's name a book that you can't do War of the Realms, the Marvel event War of the Realms, because it revolves around books that came before it. Like you need to read those books so that you can get to War of the Realms. If they make a War of the Realms movie, it wouldn't make entire. If they make a War of the Realms movie and it had to be comic accurate to the book, it wouldn't make sense because it would revolve around books that do not appear in that story. And most comic book or superhero movie goers and people that critique it don't read comics, so it's like don't they're gonna come out of the movie really confused. So comic accuracy always has to be stated as something that is either character specific, world specific, like as in like when I mean world specific comic book accuracy, I mean like let's take Marvel's New York, right? Marvel's New York in the MCU is I can't really judge it because we don't have a lot of heroes in it, but like because the Marvel comic book universe has a shit ton of heroes in New York, and so it's like I can't, and we haven't gotten a lot of heroes in the MCU, so it's like I can't really judge it off that just now, but it's one of those things where not everything is going to be pinpointed and exact. So comic book accuracy has to be a thing that is very refined and focused on certain things. So your characters, if you want comic book accuracy, you have to focus on the characters, the environment that they're in, the world, not the plot, right? Because the plot can be different so long as your characters and the environment that they're in is very similar to its original material. Because let's be real, guys. If the Civil War movie was comic book accurate to the book, it would have been like 30 million hours long, and it would have been kind of confusing. So, but anyway, I rambled on far along. This is probably the worst episode because I feel like I digressed or rambled or coughed a lot this episode. So, uh, but yeah, thank you for watching. Degenerate Talk episode 6. The contest at the beginning was fake, but yeah. Link, my media is all down below. My Instagram, YouTube, which, I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you're already here, and the SoundCloud, which is probably not going to be sticking around very long because I'm not going to pay to post on SoundCloud. So, and with that, I'm your host, unwillingly, comics or not. This has been Degenerate Talk. If you're a woman over the age of 18 or 21, please, for the love of God, can I just get a chance, please? I swear to God, I am an honest guy. I can't say anything about my looks, but I can be really down to earth, and I'm really charming. And if you just give me a chance, if you just give me a chance,